Hello, welcome to another edition of 5-Minute FRQ, where I take you through an old FRQ on the AP Bio exam in 5 minutes or less. As always, this information is freely available on the College Board's AP Bio website, so if you have any questions, you can look it up. All right, this is question 8 on the 2014 AP exam. A research team has genetically engineered a strain of fruit flies to eliminate errors during DNA replication. The team claims that this will eliminate genetic variation in the engineered flies. A second research team claims that eliminating errors during DNA replication will not entirely eliminate genetic variation in the engineered flies. A says provide one piece of evidence that would indicate new genetic variation has occurred in the engineered flies. B is describe one mechanism that could lead to genetic variation in the engineered strain of flies. And C, describe how genetic variation in a population contributes to the process of evolution in the population. So this is a short question, but it has a lot of really good questions. So part A, one piece of evidence that would indicate new genetic variation. So I either need to see a change in the DNA or the chromosome, or I need to see phenotypic changes in the appearance of the organism. If you look at what the rubric accepted, again, that's worth 1 point. Each of these is worth a single point. So this question's a 3-point question. So either new phenotypes, new DNA sequences, new genotypes, chromosomal differences, different mRNA sequences, a protein with different amino acid sequences, any of those are evidence that genetic variation has occurred. It's a pretty simple question. Part B, to describe one mechanism that could lead to genetic variation. So the bold word there is describe, not identify. So describe sort of implies you need to give somewhat of a description into what the process is doing. There's lots of things you could say here. One thing that you cannot say is a mistake in cell division. The question says they eliminated genetic variation in replication. So saying that you have a mutation, and that's all you say, is not likely good enough. Saying that polymerase makes a mistake, not good enough, because the question says they got rid of that. So look at what they did say. So I harp on this a lot with my students. So the sources of genetic variation in meiosis are crossing over, which happens in prophase 1, and independent assortment, which happens in metaphase 1. If you look at what they took, so I see crossing over. Now, you can't just say crossing over. Tell me what it does. The word says describe. So crossing over reshuffles, recombines genes. Independent assortment produces new combinations also. You could also just say a general term that sexual reproduction produces offspring with new combos of traits, or that meiosis does that. You don't have to give a specific example. But crossing over, independent assortment are products of meiosis. So after meiosis, a third thing that gives you genetic variation is random fertilization, that multiple different sperm could fertilize the egg, and that's random. You could also say things like, gosh, look at the rubric. Gene flow, you could introduce new traits because organisms move. A virus can insert DNA sequences, non-disjunction. So that's not a mistake of polymerase. That's a mistake of the way the chromosomes line up and separate during mitosis or meiosis. Chromosomal rearrangements, that works. Radiation or chemicals mutating the DNA. So I said that you can't just say the DNA mutates, because polymerase, again, the question rules out polymerase mutating or causing a mutation. So chemicals or radiation causing the mutation, that would work. Part C, describe how genetic variation in a population contributes to the process of evolution. So natural selection acts upon variation. If everything is the same, there's nothing to select for or to select against. There's no way to measure differences in fitness if everything is the same. So what variation does is contributes variation phenotypically to the population. So look what they took. Genetic variation is the basis of phenotypic variation that selection can act upon. Or you can say, conversely, without variation genetically, there's no variation phenotypically. Natural selection acts upon differences in a population. The differences come from, in this question at least, variation as the result of sexual reproduction. Okay, hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.